Oh, we're on? Okay. Hey guys, Rampage here. We're gonna be watching the top 10 deadliest samurai. And this is on the death battle. Oh yeah, guys. I changed my wallpaper. I changed it. Here, I'll show you guys. See?
Before we begin, let me tell you about Quid, the app where you open packs to collect stickers, trading cards, and Funko figures for your phone with some of your favorite brands, like Marvel, DC, Game of Thrones, Rick and Morty, and tons more. Collect and trade them in the app or send them via iMessage. Pick up the app for free by clicking the link in the description, and don't forget to add ScrewAttack as a friend. New stickers, cards, and figures are released every day, so hit us up for trade if you get a rare one. Besides ninjas, the coolest warriors to ever come out of Japan had to be the samurai. The only way that these armor-clad, katana-wielding fighters could have been any cooler is if they were a little bit more like the ones you see in video games, cartoons, comics, and anime, which are exactly the ones we're going to count down. So hey, I've never...
Okay.
Never stick for ScrewAttack's top 10 samurai.
It's probably gonna be Samurai Jack.
Number 10.
Most people seem to think of traditional samurai as dignified warriors, but Mugen from Samurai Champloo ain't exactly traditional.
Oh yeah.
With his casual attire and breakdancing fighting style, this guy tries his hardest to stand out above the crowd. Kind of like Max from a Goofy movie. And now I want to see Goofy as a samurai. But anyway, what makes Mugen truly deadly is how he can learn new techniques on the fly. He mixes fighting styles together to make himself as unpredictable as he can. Even his sword is different, with that hilt that looks like a sai. Mugen may be a lewd, anti-authority, womanizing ex-con, but on top of all that, he also likes to pick fights for no good reason. And knowing his skill level, I would stay away.
Tough little bastard. Number 9.
You might say that this samurai is one...
bad motherfucker.
Yeah, that. And it's fitting too, because Afro's story is one of revenge and headbands. No, really, in this world, there's a headband which basically makes you a god. This one in particular belonged to Afro's dad until it was forcibly removed by a guy named Justice, sending Afro himself on a vengeance quest. This means that while Afro is on his way to Murder Town, he's constantly fighting all sorts of deadly assassins, fierce warriors, and just plain old bad dudes. When he finally delivers justice, he tries to live a life of peace. But someone's always gunning for that number 1 headband. The headband shall be ours.
What? What is
Number 8.
Oh.
In another revenge story, Black Mamba of
What?
Hyper Assassination Squad may be able to kill you in many different ways. But if you give her a samurai sword, she will make modern art out of your limbs. Just ask the Crazy 88s. Black Mamba, aka the Bride, aka Beatrix Kiddo from Kill Bill, was the strongest of her squad before she left her life of killing to settle down and raise her unborn daughter. It's just too bad that the rest of the team had other plans for her and her child. Quentin Tarantino's revenge flick celebrates the more gruesome bits of being a wandering swordswoman. like the obscene amount of blood that comes from a disembodied arm or head. And since Beatrix's sword was built by Hattori Hanzo himself, there's not much that anybody, even a room full of gangsters, can do to stop her from getting her daughter back. Somebody should have filled Bill from Kill Bill in that this ill-willed bride has no chill.
Number 7.
For a blind guy to make a living playing dice, that's a pretty impressive feat unto itself.
What?
But Zatoichi's day job of gambling and the occasional sensual massage is overshadowed by his proficiency in killing massive amounts of bandits, ronin, and yakuza, all without batting an eye. Because, you know, blind. Though unlike the other samurai on this list, Zatoichi does not use a traditional samurai sword, because they've been outlawed in his time period. Instead, he carries a cane sword, and if you're wondering what that is, think about it for 3 seconds. You're probably not far off. There have been times when he's found himself in possession of a katana, and of course, he's more than capable when he's wielding it. But his true strength comes from his reverse grip, which affords him lightning-fast speed and control. And also, he's basically Samurai Daredevil, because blindness heightens his other abilities. And that's awesome for us as the viewers, but not so much for the Yakuza.
Number 6.
When your universe is full of Hulks and Iron Man and purple guys who eat planets, you kind of need some sort of a quirk to make a samurai relevant at all. For Marvel's Silver Samurai, that means a mutant power that lets him cut through anything. This tachyon field, as it's called, makes him a threat to even the likes of Wolverine and Spider-Man. For like a couple of minutes, maybe.
Yeah.
He also dons bulletproof armor and a ring of teleportation, as if having, you know, the ability to cut through all that stuff wasn't enough already. And then when you add in his lifetime's worth of training under his belt, you had best bet that Silver Sam is more than worthy of our number 6 spot.
Number 5.
You know that random sword chick who shows up in the Suicide Squad movie and was basically pointless? Like a lot of things in that movie? That's Tatsu, a widow who became the vigilante Katana. Her actual story in the comics is all about, what else? Vengeance when her brother-in-law murders her entire family. In fact, her late husband was cut down by the very sword she now wields. A sword which contains the soul of every person it has ever slain. That's probably why they call it the Soul Taker. While the sword has supernatural abilities of its own, Katana has been a student of martial arts since she was a young girl. And in her adventures, she's even had time to hone her samurai skills alongside Batman. Her prowess with Soul Taker is only amplified by the sword's mystical nature, allowing Katana to communicate with the long dead and even revive them to fight alongside her. She may technically be a good guy, but her heroism definitely leaves a lot of bodies in her wake. Unlike in Suicide Squad. Screw you, Suicide Squad.
Number 4.
Being a samurai in feudal Japan has all sorts of challenges, but when the evil Nobunaga becomes more demon than warlord, who you gonna call? Samanosuke Kechi, the only hunting, ghost-slaying warrior of legend. In a game where you battle Japan's mythological monsters to save our world from destruction, the Oni Gauntlet is the secret to this samurai's success. The Onimusha sword will cut up the competition, but the gauntlet absorbs their souls to increase the strength in the samurai's arsenal. Like most samurai on this list, Samanosuke is trained in a variety of weapons, but the top tier can be godlike when you include the Bishamon sword and Genma Samonji, a sword forged in the dark energy of Nobunaga's hatred that Samanosuke used to seal the warlord's soul. What? I have no idea what I just said. You might wonder how a human is capable of such a feat, but let's just say that in his ultimate form, Samanosuke is barely human. Monsters, your days are numbered.
Number 3.
Anybody who has a love of animation probably knows the name Gendy Tartakovsky. The dude was behind so many amazing cartoons over the years, and wouldn't you know it, he made one of the deadliest samurai ever. The time-traveling warrior known only as Jack is a man on a mission to end the evil wizard Aku. Throughout the show, Jack utilizes every technique he learns both as a young man and throughout his incredible journey. And his blade, it was forged by the gods specifically to destroy Aku. Every episode usually takes place in a different location, which only means that the list of things Jack has made get dead is all the more impressive. I'm talking robotic, gun-wielding alligators, giant flesh-eating monsters, and even entire waves of enemies. Because, as we all know, pretty much every good samurai has to take down an army by themselves.
Number 2.
At first glance, you're probably thinking, really? But Kenshin Himura is much more than meets the eye. He's one of the most feared men in Japan and responsible for the deaths of hundreds, if not thousands. After Kenshin's family was killed at a young age, he was adopted by a wandering swordsman and trained in the Hiten Mitsurugi Ryu, a swordsmanship style designed to let one man take on multiple opponents. And oh boy, does Kenshin put that to good use. After joining up with the clan to overthrow the corrupt government and killing over 100 people in the war, he earned the name Batosai, or Manslayer. And after the war, Kenshin spent his time as an assassin until he realized that killing all these people is actually pretty bad. So he dedicated the rest of his days to saving lives instead of taking them. So he swapped his sword for one with a reversed blade, which Kenshin carried with him as he wandered the land, atoning for his past. And even then, his skill with a sword that is literally facing the wrong direction was so insane that he managed to defeat every single foe that he came across. That aside, Kenshin Himura is the embodiment of samurai.
Him versus Zoro.
It's number 1.
Based on the real-life legendary samurai, Date Masamune has appeared in fiction numerous times as the legendary One-Eyed Dragon.
What the heck? Oh, I add. I was gonna say
Dragon, but in Sengoku Basara, he truly shines as one of the greatest samurai of all time. His greatness goes far beyond that of the immortal armor he wears or the biker gang posse that makes up the Date clan. His 6-claw technique has him wielding all of his swords at once. It's like if Wolverine's claws were just massive katana. Oh yeah, also he can shoot energy out of his swords. And speaking of swords, he sometimes even carries Alistair. Yes, the actual Alistair from Devil May Cry. But you know what's better than cutting up dudes with a single legendary sword? Cutting up dudes with 6 legendary swords. Not even the trench coat wearing pretty boy can do that. And coming in at our secret number 11 are the Samurai Pizza Cats. Come on, they got everything the internet loves. Giant robots, pizza, you know, they're cats, and they're samurai. How could we not include them?
Electronic power to the rescue!
what the heck? Alright, y'all. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Rampage out. Peace. And yes, I'm gonna be doing a Zoro versus the other dude, DBX.